Welcome to the Professor English podcast, where we don't just talk about English, we practice English. My name is Ryan, and I am your host. Today, we are going to practice the phrasal verb keep track of, which means to watch every movement of something, to watch something very closely and very carefully. This is a listening and speaking exercise. So if you want to improve your English listening, your English speaking, and your accuracy while improving your vocabulary, in other words, the whole enchilada, you have found the right video. There are no long explanations, just English practice. Practice listening and practice speaking. So if you are not clear about the meaning of keep track of something, don't worry. By the end of this video, the idea will be very clear. So be sure and watch until the end. Before we begin, I just want to remind you that if you prefer some visual help with this exercise, you can always see the video version on my YouTube channel, Professor English ESL Class. Now, let's dive in and start practicing English. Here is a situation. John watched every change of the score of the game. So every time he's watching a game, a football game, a baseball game, a soccer game, and he's watching very carefully every time the score changes. Because he's watching this very carefully, we can use keep track of. He kept track of the score. He kept track. He kept track of. He kept track of the score. He kept track of the score. Let's make a how question. How keep track of score? How did he? How did he? How did he? How did he keep track? How did he keep track of the score? Let's answer with by plus an ing verb. By writing. By writing down. By writing down every change. He kept track of the score by writing down every change. He kept track of the score by writing down every change. All right, fantastic job. Let's try another example. Here is a different situation. Mary watched her budget very carefully. Mary watched her budget very carefully. She was very careful to watch every change in the amount of money that she had. She watched her budget very carefully. How would you use keep track of here? She kept. She kept track of. She kept track of her budget. She kept track of her budget. Let's make a how question. How did she? How did she? How did she keep? How did she keep track of her budget? Of her budget. Of her budget. How did she keep track of her budget? How did she keep track? How did she keep track of her budget? Let's answer this how question with by plus ing. By monitoring her account. By monitoring her account very carefully. She kept track of her budget. She kept track of her budget. She kept track of her budget by monitoring her account very carefully. All right, you're doing a super duper job. Let's try another example. But before we do, I just want to remind you that if you find these exercises helpful, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel, Professor English ESL Class, so that you won't miss the next lesson. And if you are watching this video on YouTube, please take a moment to press the like button. It helps my channel so much and lets me know that you want to see more fluency and listening comprehension exercises just like this one. Now, let's keep practicing English. Here is another situation. Mike and John watched every change of the weather. Mike and John watched every change of the weather. Maybe they wanted to go out and do some kind of outside activity, but it was raining or cold, and they wanted to see if the weather maybe was going to change. So they watched the weather changes very closely. They kept track of the weather They kept track of the weather. Let's make a how keep track question. How did they? How did they keep track? How did they keep track of the weather? How did they keep track of the weather? How did they keep track of the weather? Let's answer with by plus ing. By using an app. An app. By using an app. By using an app. By using an app. They kept track of the weather by using an app. They kept track of the weather by using an app. All right, fantastic job. Let's try another example. Mark and I watched our sales very carefully. So Mark and I are salespeople, and maybe we're having a competition. So we're watching our sales very carefully. How many sales did we make? How many sales did we lose? Let's use keep track of. We kept track of. We kept track of our sales. We kept track of our sales. How would you make a how keep track question? How did we? How did we? How did we keep track? How did we keep track of our sales? Let's answer with by plus ing. By using special software. By using special software. We kept track of our sales by using special software. We kept track of our sales by using special software. All right, you did an amazing job today, and you learned some fantastic English. Congratulations! I knew you could do it. Remember, practice makes perfect. So you should repeat this exercise several times. Not just so that you can remember how to use the phrasal verb keep track of, but also to improve your listening and your speaking skills. It's been really fun practicing English with you today, and I hope to see you again real soon. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to press the like button. See you in the next video with more interesting words and phrases.